Dear students, in this lecture, we are going to cover the remaining concepts of time, speed and distance. One of those concepts is the concept of relative velocity. So I am not going into much theory part, but we are here to discuss, the best of the best numericals that you can expect from this concept. But let me give you a brief overview of the techniques and the concepts that you would actually require to solve these kind of questions. So I'm pretty sure you are clear about the concept of relative speed. So when does the question of relative speed props up? So when two things have different velocities and one of them is trying to understand that what is my velocity with respect to the other moving object. That means concept of relative velocity will come into picture only when two or more than two objects are in motion simultaneously together. Only then can you come up with the concept of relative speed. So let us see the techniques that you would need. So when two bodies are moving towards each other, then how to deal with the concept of relative velocity, or in other words, what would be the concept that you would require to tackle such situation. So please mind the use of the word two objects are moving towards each other. So let's suppose so two bodies A and B. So let's suppose this is B here. So now let's understand the concept. So there must be some distance between them. So this distance will be given because they are moving towards each other. So if they are moving towards each other, it means there is already a gap between them. There must be a gap. That's why they are moving towards each other. So let this gap, or technically speaking, this distance be equal to D. Fine. Now speed. So their speed will also be given. Let's suppose the speed of A is equal to U and the speed of B is equal to V, units, meter per second, kilometer per hour, whatever that may be. So what is the concept? The question that you need to answer is that how much time will they take to meet? They have to meet each other. How much time? So time taken to meet. Why meet? Because they are coming from opposite direction. They would be meeting somewhere sometime. So time taken to meet would be equal to what? Distance is the target that you have given to them. That means you have asked both of them to do a work. What is the work? The work is to cover this gap. You can say you have given this work to two people and they both are helping each other to do this job, because they both are trying to meet. They both are trying to do the same work. They are helping each other. So helping means addition. So distance is D. Speeds get added up. Speeds get added. They are helping each other. I will tell you the mathematics that why the speed gets added. You will come to understand why this formula, why not some other formula. But for the sake of remembering, you can remember very easily. Moving towards each other, that means helping. Helping means plus. Now why this formula? Suppose they meet after time t. Suppose they meet after time is equal to t. So I am saying that time taken to meet, t, is given by this formula. So why this formula? So in t time, A must have covered ut. Its speed is ut. So you can say A covers ut. Similarly, B covers vt. And together they meet. So if they meet, that means they have in total covered distance D. Some distance was covered by A, some distance was covered by B. Together they covered distance D. So from here you will get T is equal to D upon U plus V. For the sake of remembering, you can remember that positive. When positive? When these two people are helping each other. Similarly, when two bodies are moving in same direction, So same direction means what? They are chasing each other, same direction. A is also going in the direction in which B is going. So it will look like that A is trying to overtake B, or you can say A is trying to chase B. So same concept. If one is trying to overcome the other, or if one is trying to chase the other, there must be some initial gap. That means before their movement begins, or before you try to analyze their movement, there must be some gap between them. If they are standing at same place, there is no gap, then there is no concept of chasing or meeting. So there has to be a gap. That gap is the initial distance. So let the initial distance be equal to d. Same concept, let the speed of A be equal to u, speed of V be equal to V. So if A has to overtake B, or if A has to, you have to say successfully chase B, then A's speed must be greater than B's speed. So A's speed is u, B's speed is V. So if A wants to overtake B, this is possible only when his speed is greater than the speed of the person he is trying to chase. Now the question is, how much time will be taken by A to catch B, to overtake B, to successfully chase B? How much time? So you know, time in general terms, time is equal to distance by speed. But here there is no concept of speed, because speed relates to only a single object. Here we are dealing with two objects. So that's why we are talking about relative velocity, not about velocity. We are interested in relative velocity. So now the question is, how much time will A take to overcome B? Distance is d. There is no concept of speed, there is concept of relative velocity. Relative velocity means how much extra speed A has in comparison with B. So you can say relative velocity. Relative velocity simply means the extra speed one object has over the other. Relative velocity. So extra speed u minus v. So the real challenge before A is he was given a target of D. What is D? D is the advantage B has over A. This is advantage that B has, because B has already covered this distance. A is yet to begin. So B has advantage in terms of distance. A has advantage in terms of speed. So question is, in how much time will A overdo the advantage taken by B? B has an advantage of distance D. A has an advantage of speed u minus v. So this challenge will be completed by A in this much time. That means A will overtake B in this much time. Now you remember, look at the previous. When they were moving towards each other, they were helping. That's why plus sign came here. Distance was D. Now they are not helping. Is B helping A? No, B is not helping A. B is making job difficult for A. That's why speeds are subtracted. So it will be easy for you to remember in terms of whether these two objects are helping each other to meet, or one is avoiding the meeting. Fine. The other crucial concept that I just told before you is, think in terms of advantage. B has an advantage of distance because it is already standing at a distance of D. So A has advantage in terms of speed. So the next time you see these kind of questions, let me give you an example. Suppose A is here, B is here. This gap is 80 meters. This gap is 80 meters. So B is running in this direction, A is running in this direction. So I would say they are running in same direction. Suppose speed of B is equal to 8 meters per second and speed of A is equal to, let's say, 20 meters per second. Now if you ask A that in how much time are you going to overtake B? Now if you start running from this situation, how much time will you require to catch B? He would tell you that you have given an advantage to B of 80 meters and I have an advantage in terms of speed. How much advantage? 20 minus 8. So this is B's advantage, this is A's advantage. So time taken, distance by relative speed, not by speed in these kind of cases. Fine. So now let's take a few examples. So it will help you consolidate the concepts that we have just learned. So let's begin with solving examples. So let's see this one. So you can pause the video and have a look at the text of the question. So the question looks lengthy, but it's a very interesting, and when you will solve it, it will become very easy. So X, Y, and Z walks at 6, 12, and 18 kilometers per hour respectively. So here three objects are mentioned. They start from Jamalpur towards Kamalpur at 2, 5, and 7 p.m. respectively. So when Y catches up with X, Y sends X back with a message to Z. When will Z get the message? So I insist you pause this video, read the question carefully. Only then look at the solution. Just read the question first. Now let's understand what is given in the question. So you have understood that three people are mentioned, X, Y, and Z. Their speeds are given 6, 12, and 18 kmph. It is also given that they start from the same city, Jamalpur, and they start in the same direction. All the three would be traveling towards Kamalpur, but they start their journey at different times. Now what is given? The first person to leave is X. So he leaves at 2 p.m. The second person to leave is Y. As per the question, after some time, Y overtakes or Y meets X. This is possible because Y's speed is greater than X speed. So after some time, Y will definitely meet X. Now question is, at what time? The first question we must answer is, at what time Y meets X? This is the first question we must answer. Why? Because look at the question carefully. The first person, it is given that when Y catches up with X, Y sends X back. That means first X leaves, after some times Y also leave. That means X and Y meet somewhere. X and Y meet somewhere. Then what does Y does? Y sends X back. So let's first find out at what time, what was the time in the watch when X and Y met. Now, how many hours later has Y started his journey? Y started at 5 p.m. X started at 2 p.m. So first answer, how much advantage, how much distance X had already covered. X had already covered when Y started his movement. This is the first question we need to answer. How much distance X has already covered? So speed of X was 6. So X is traveling for past 3 hours because he has started at 2 p.m. Y is about to start at 5 p.m. So X is already traveling for last 3 hours. So you can say speed of 6 kilometer per hour into 3 hours. So this distance already X has gained. So this comes out to be equal to 18 kilometers. So the situation is something like this. Y is about to start his journey and X has already reached 18 kilometers ahead. Now if you ask Y, how much time does Y need to overtake X? Now X has an advantage of 18 kilometers. So 18 kilometers is the target you have given to Y. But both are moving. So here we cannot use speed of Y. We will have to use the concept of relative speed of Y because X is also moving. The target is 18 kilometers, but his target is moving. So he will have to understand that what advantage of speed do I have over my target. So target is moving at a speed of 6. The chaser, the person who is chasing is moving at a speed of 12. So what is the extra speed Y has? This is the extra speed, 12 minus 6. So this is the extra speed, kilometers per hour. So 18 by 6. So 3 hours. So 3 hours. Y is going to take 3 hours to meet B. It means meeting takes place at 8 because Y took 3 hours and Y have started his journey at 5 p.m. So the meeting takes place at 8 p.m. Now what happens after meeting? After the meeting takes place, Y sends X back. So what is written here? When Y catches up with X, Y sends X back with a message to Z. When will Z get the message? Now let's solve the second half. We have understood that X and Y meet at 8 p.m. So now Y is out of scene. Now you have to simply understand that X is returning back. X is now returning back. So after how much time will X meet Z? Now time is already 8 p.m. Now forget about Y. Y has done his job. Now think about X and Z. Fine. But there is a catch. What is the catch? The catch is Z has a speed of 18 kilometers, but he started his travel at 7 p.m. itself. 7 p.m. itself. But now the time is 8 p.m. That means you have to understand that where was Z when the time was 8 p.m. So this is Kamalpur, from where the entire story began. This is Kamalpur. The meeting takes place at 8 p.m. Where did the meeting takes place? So question is, where did this meeting takes place? Think in terms of X. X started his journey at 2 p.m. and he meets Y at 8 p.m. So X has traveled for 6 hours. So in those 6 hours, X must have covered 6 into 6, that is 36 kilometers. So the meeting has taken place at a distance of 36 kilometers from the city of Kamalpur. The meeting took place at 8 p.m. Now Z has already started moving at 7 p.m. So he was moving at a speed of 18 kilometers per hour. So he started at 7 p.m. Now the time is 8 p.m. So he has been walking for last 1 hour. So in those 1 hours, he has already covered 18 kilometers. So he is now at a distance of 18 kilometers from Kamalpur, whereas the meeting has taken place at a distance of 36 kilometers from Kamalpur. So effectively speaking, what is the situation at 8 p.m.? The situation at 8 p.m. is something like this. This is Kamalpur. Z is here. So this gap is 18 kilometer. X is here. So this total gap is 36 kilometer. So it means the gap between Z and X, the gap between Z and X is only 18 kilometers. They both are moving in opposite direction because X is returning towards Z. Z is moving towards X. So ask yourself a question: when will Z meet X? What is the target? What is the distance between them? Distance is 18 kilometer. They are moving from opposite direction. That means they are helping each other. Time is already 8 p.m. and then we are solving this question. So the target is 18 kilometer. They are moving from opposite direction. They are helping each other, helping. So X and Z are helping. So 6 plus 18. So they are going to take 18 by 24 hours. That is 3 by 4 hours. That is equal to 45 minutes. So Z requires 45 more minutes to meet X. So time is already 8 p.m. So time is already 8 p.m. Another 45 minutes are required. So at what time will Z get the message? That means at what time will Z get to meet X? He will get to meet X at 8:45 p.m. So final answer 8:45 p.m. So let's have a look at this question. Two cars P and Q start at the same time from A and B, which are 120 kilometers apart. Now, if two cars travel in opposite direction, they meet after 1 hour, and if they travel in same direction, then P meets Q after 6 hours. What is the speed of car P? So two objects are moving and two different cases are given. So let us understand the data given in this question. So first things first, two towns are mentioned, town A and town B. So these two towns are at a gap of 120 kilometers. This is given. Now two cases are given. What are the two cases? First case, case 1, P and Q are moving from opposite direction. That means P is coming from this side, Q is coming from this side. So this is case 1. The second case, case 2, is that they are moving in same direction. That means P is moving in this direction, Q is also moving in this direction. So this gap is 120 kilometers. This gap is also 120 kilometers. So two different cases are given. Also it is given that in case 1, see, in case 1 they are helping each other. So if you help, work is done in less amount of time. So if they are helping each other, they take only 1 hour. They take only 1 hour. So time taken to meet is only 1 hour. In case 2, they are not helping each other. Q is trying to avoid meeting because P is chasing Q. Q is not coming in same direction. He is also running away from P. So what does this mean? The first thing that becomes very clear is that if P manages to catch Q, it means the speed of P must be greater than that of Q. That you understand properly. Anyways, the time taken by P to meet Q, that is in case 2, time taken is equal to 6 hours. So based on this data, we have to find what is the speed of P. So let's do that. So let the speed of P, since we have understood that P's speed is greater than Q, anyways, let the speed of P be equal to U kilometers per hour and speed of Q be equal to V kilometers per hour. Now we have two different cases. Case 1, they are both coming from opposite direction. You can say they are helping. That means positive, relative velocity will be positive. Case 2, they are moving in same direction, not helping. So the sign of relative velocity will be negative. So let's solve these two cases. The target is already known, 120 kilometers, or the initial gap. So in case 1, time to meet, target is 120 kilometers. So 120 by U plus V. In case 2, time taken to meet, target is 120, but sign will be negative. So P's speed is greater than V's speed. So we will write U minus V and not V minus U. So we know that in this case, time taken to meet was given to be equal to 1 hour. So this must be equal to 1, and time taken to meet in case 2 was given to be equal to 6 hours. This was given. So based on this data, from here you can say that U plus V is equal to 120 by 1. So U plus V is equal to 120. And from here you can say U minus V is equal to 120 by 6. That is equal to 20. So now let's solve this. If you solve these two simultaneous equation, that is U plus V is equal to 120 and U minus V is equal to 20, then you will get the value of U. Let's solve this. If you add, you get 2U is equal to 140 kmph obviously. So from here U is equal to 70 kmph. So what is U? U is the speed of P. So the question is solved. What is the speed of car P? Answer would be 70 kmph. Now this is a very good question and a very common one on top of that. So you'll have to be very attentive when we solve this together. So anyways, let's read what the question says. Two trains, each traveling at a speed of 20 kilometers per hour, approach each other on the same straight track. A bird that can fly at a speed of 40 kilometers per hour flies off from one train when they are 40 kilometers apart and heads directly for another train. On reaching the other train, it flies directly back to the first train, and so on and so forth. So before the train crashes, the total distance traveled by the bird is equal to what? Now understand what is the question. So two trains are there. So let these be two trains. So question says, when they were at a gap of 40 kilometers, then a bird which was sitting on the first train starts flying towards the second train. So bird flies. So let me draw a bird. So this is the bird that is flying. So bird is flying at a speed of 40 kilometers per hour, whereas both these trains have speed of 20 kmph, both the trains. And these trains are coming towards each other. They are about to crash. They are coming on same track. So what is this bird doing? The bird flies towards the other train. But please remember, the train is not stationary. Both the trains are moving towards each other. So the bird will not meet the train here, but the train must have moved some forward, some distance forward. So the bird goes here, comes back, because his purpose is to come back to his original train, but this train would also have moved forward. So that bird keeps on traveling between these two trains until the two trains crash. The question is, in doing so, what was the total distance that the bird had covered? This question looks very complicated but becomes very easy if you answer a simple question. The question is, how long will the bird keep flying? For how long will the bird keep flying? The answer is till the two trains meet. This is the answer, because the bird will stop flying when the trains crash or meet. So the answer is, how long will the bird keep flying? It will keep flying till the two trains meet. So how long? So time taken to meet, time taken for trains to meet. What is the target? When this whole you can say flying thing started, the initial gap between the two trains was 40 kilometers. So this was the target given to both the trains. They were told that you have to meet. They were helping each other. Helping means their velocities will get added, 20 plus 20. So 40 by 40. So time taken to meet is equal to 1 hour. So bird keeps flying for 1 hour. So in 1 hour, distance covered by bird, distance flown by the bird in 1 hour is equal to what? 1 into the speed of the bird. What is the speed of the bird? Bird can fly at a speed of 40 kilometers per hour, and we know that bird had to fly for 1 hour. So in those 1 hour, the bird must have flown what distance? So 1 into 40. So the total distance that the bird has flown must be equal to 40 kilometers. Two trains start from station A and B and travels towards each other at a speed of 50 kilometers per hour and 60 kilometers per hour respectively. At the time of their meeting, the second train has traveled 120 kilometers more than the first. So the distance between A and B is equal to what? A good question. Let's solve this. So two trains start from station A and station B and they are traveling towards each other. So let's understand this scenario first. So here is A, here is B. So we don't know what this distance is. We don't know. We have to actually find out what this distance is. We have no idea. What do we know? At the time of it is two trains start, we know this, their speed is also known. So train 1, train 2. So train 1 is traveling at a speed of 50 kilometers per hour. Train 2 is traveling at a speed of 60 kilometers per hour. Question says at the time of their meeting, the second train has traveled 120 kilometers more than the first. 120 kilometers more than the first. So what does this mean? See, in order to meet, some distance will be covered by first train, some distance will be covered by second train. So it is said that when they met, it was observed that the second train, that means this distance is 120 kilometers more than the first distance. This is what is given. Now to meet, they have started at the same time and they meet at the same time. So you can say both the trains were traveling for same amount of time. So assume both trains kept moving for, let's say, t hours. So in those t hours, the first train must have covered 50 t. So train 1 and train 2. So how much forward first train must have come? 50, its speed is 50, it is traveling for t hours. So 50 t. The second train is traveling at a speed of 60 kilometers per hour and it is traveling for t hours. So second train must have traveled 60 t. That's why it is said that second train is traveling more. 60 t is more than 50 t. 60 t minus 50 t is the extra distance the second train has traveled, and this is given equal to 120. So from here 10t is equal to 120. T comes out to be 12. T is equal to 12. What is the question? The distance between A and B is equal to what? So it means they were traveling together for 12 hours, or in other ways, total distance you can find it quite easily. Total distance 50t plus 60t. 50t plus 60t, this is the total distance, that is equal to 110t. Now you know the value of t, that is equal to 12. So that is equal to 110 into 12. So 11 into 12, 132. So the final answer will be 1320 kilometers. So let's have a look at this one. Points A, P, Q and B lie on the same line such that P, Q and B are respectively 100 kilometers, 200 kilometers and 300 kilometers away from A. Car 1 and 2 leave A at the same time and move towards B. Simultaneously, car 3 leaves B and move towards A. Car 3 meets car 1 at Q and car 2 at P. If each car is moving in uniform speed, then the ratio of speed of car 2 to that of car 1 is equal to what? So very, very good question. So I insist that you pause the video, read the question statement properly, only then we will discuss. So please read the question carefully before moving forward. So now let us understand what is the data given in the question. So once you understand the data, it will become easy for you, I guess. So anyways, so two towns are there, A and B. Between these two towns, there are 2 points, point P and point Q. It is given that P, see what is given, such that the distance between P and A is 100 kilometers. So this distance is 100 kilometers. So this distance is 100 kilometers. It is also given that the distance between A and Q, is 200 kilometers. That means from here to here, from here up till here, the distance is 200 kilometers. So this gap is already 100, which means the distance between P and Q must be equal to 100. So that the total distance between A and Q becomes 200. Similarly, the distance between A and B is given as 300 kilometers. So 100 plus 100, 200 already. So this gap must be also equal to 100 kilometer. So this is what is given. Another thing that is given in question is two cars are located here, car 1 and car 2. These both cars are moving towards city B, whereas there is a third car, car C, located at B, and it is moving in opposite direction, that means towards city A. Now we have data about when the meeting of cars take place. Now, as per the given question, car, see what is given here. Car, all the three cars start together. All the three cars start together, and it is given that car 3 meets car 1 at Q. So car 3 and car 1 have met here. So this is the meeting point of C1 and C3, car 3. So let's understand what has just happened. So all the three cars have started together. So what does this statement means when it is said that car 1 and car 3 met at Q? So to meet there, what distance car 1 have traveled just now? 200 kilometers. So you can say in the time C1 traveled 200 kilometers, C3 traveled how much? Because they have met here. So C3 has traveled only 100 kilometers till then. Traveled 100 kilometers. So from here, so let speed of car 1 be V1, speed of car 2 be equal to V2, and speed of car 3 be equal to V3. So from here it is very clear that V1 is to V3 is equal to 200 is to 100, because the ratio of speed will be the same as the ratio of distance covered. Who has more speed covers more distance. So it is very evident that this car has covered twice the distance as compared to the second one. So in the same ratio, this is 2:1. Now coming to second fact. So this car kept on moving forward. So the second meeting, so it meets car number 2 at P. This car, third car. So you can say in the time second car 2 traveled how much? Because the second meeting has taken place at P. These two cars are meeting at P. Now forget about first car. First car data is already with us. Now bother only about second and third car. So second and third car are meeting at P. What is the location of P? 200 kilometers from this side and 100 kilometers from this side. So in the time C2 traveled 100 kilometers, C3 traveled how much? 200 kilometers. So from here you can say V2 is to V3 is equal to how much? 100 is to 200. That is 1:2. What is the question? Question is find the ratio of speed of car 2, second car, to car first. That means you have to find V2 upon V1. What do we know? We know V1 is to V3 and we know V2 is to V3 is equal to how much? So what do we know? We know that V1 by V3 is equal to how much? What is V1 by V3? It is equal to 2:1. 2:1. So this is equal to 2/1. Also we know that V2 by V3 is equal to what? 1/2. See, we have solved here 1/2. So that is equal to 1/2. What we have to find? We have to find V2 by V1. So let's call this equation 1. Let's call this equation 2. So divide 2 by 1. Divide 2 by 1. What do you get? V2 by V3 whole divided by V1 by V3. So that is equal to 1/2 whole divided by 2/1. So V3 gets cancelled. So V2 by V1 comes to be equal to 1/4. 1:4. This 2 will come down. So 1/4. So final answer 1/4. Now students, this is a very good question, and it is these kind of questions that create a difference between who gets selected and who doesn't. So just have a look at this one. There's a very good question. So it says the metro service has a train going from A to B and from B to A every hour. The first one at 6 a.m. The trip from one city to the other takes 4.5 hours and all the trains travel at same speed. Question is, how many trains will you pass while going from A to B if you start at 12 noon? Please pause the video, read this question carefully first, then we'll proceed. Now understand what is this scenario being created in this question. So two stations are there, A and B. Every hour one trains leave this station, and same every hour at the same time one train leaves this station. That means trains keep on leaving at 6 p.m. then 7 p.m. then 8 p.m. 9 p.m. 10 p.m. That means one train per hour. That means 24 trains in a single day. Same is happening from the other side. From the other side also, one train every hour is starting for the other station. Now question is, you have started at 12 noon from this side. At 12 noon, let's say 12 p.m. you have started. It is also known that one train takes 4.5 hours to reach from A to B or from B to A, because all the trains are traveling at same speed. So ask yourself a question. What does this mean? It means every hour one train comes and stops on this station because these trains have started from here and they are coming and stopping at this station every hour, because every hour one train starts from here. That means every hour one train reaches this station. You are starting at 12 p.m. So before you start, a train must have come and stopped here. So train takes 4.5 hours to reach here. So you start at timings 12 p.m. not at 12:30, 12:45. So you start at 12, then you will start at 1, then 2, then 3, and so on. So what does this mean? It means that trains reach stations at these kind of timings, 6:30, 7:30, 8:30. That means this 30-minute thing is involved, because 4.5 hours. Had it been 4 hours or 5 hours, then timing would have matched, but it takes 4.5 hours, that 30 minutes. Because of that 30 minutes, the time taken to reach is some hour 30 minutes, x hours 30 minutes. So now think logically. You are starting at 12 p.m. You would reach here at 4:30 p.m. Question is, how many trains did you see coming from this direction? This is the question. Before you start, what was the last timing that train reached here? The last train to reach here must have reached at 11:30 p.m. Sorry, 11:30 a.m. This was the last train that reached this station, and 30 minutes later you are leaving now. Now you are leaving. So this will not be counted because it is written, you will see while going. So this train will not be counted. Now you reach here at 4:30 p.m. So this train which reached before you started, so this reached at 11:30 p.m. So if it had reached at 11:30 p.m., it means this train must have started at 7 in the morning, because it has taken 4.5 hours. So it has started at 7 in the morning. So this train will not be counted because it has reached already before you are starting. So what about these trains? Train which would start at 8, trains which would start at 9. So obviously you are going to meet them in midway because you are reaching here at 4:30 p.m. So all the trains, see this train at 7 a.m. this will not be counted, but after this 8 p.m., 9 p.m., 10 p.m., 11 p.m., 12, then 1, 2, 3 and 4, because you are reaching here at 4:30. So before you reach here, all these trains have also started. All these trains have also started from B, and these trains you are definitely going to see while you are in a journey. So you started at 12, you are reaching at 4:30. The train which will not be counted is the train which reaches at 11:30. So the train which reached at 11:30 must have started at 7. So all the trains between 7 and 4:30 will have to be counted. You don't have to consider this, you don't have to consider this. But between these timings, all the trains that would start, you are definitely going to meet. So now let's count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 and 9. So answer would be 9 trains you are going to meet. Now dear students, in this entire video, this is the best question that you will get to solve. So I throw a challenge before you that you pause this video. You can have like 5 to 10 minutes, but first give this question a try on your own. Fine. So I hope you must have given this a try. You must have paused the video. Anyways, let's see what this question says. So Mukesh, Suresh and Dinesh travel from Delhi to Mathura to attend Janmashtami Utsav. They have a bike which can carry only 2 riders at a time as per traffic rules. Bike can be driven only by Mukesh. So Mathura is 300 kilometers from Delhi. All of them can walk at 15 kilometers per hour. All of them start their journey from Delhi simultaneously and are required to reach Mathura at the same time. If the speed of bike is 60 kilometers per hour, then what is the shortest possible time in which all the 3 can reach Mathura at the same time? Brilliant question. So let's understand how you can tackle this. So now let's understand what is the scenario. So 3 people, let's call them person 1, person 2 and person 3. So 3 persons are located at Delhi. They have a single motorcycle, and on one bike only 2 people can travel at a time. That means two will start on bike and 1 will start walking on his foot. So they all three have to start together, and all 3 want to reach Mathura together. Now if all 3 have to reach Mathura together, what would be the scenario when they would be reaching? One would be walking, one person would be walking when they are entering Mathura, and 2 other person would be sitting on bike. So this must be the scenario. And what would be the scenario when 2 persons are when they all 3 are leaving? Same scenario, 1 would be walking and 2 would be on bike. Now see, same 2 persons who have started on bike cannot be the same 2 persons who reach here. Fine. Otherwise the person who walks will not reach simultaneously. So the best approach, the best possible approach is that 2 people start on bike, 2 people start on bike, one person starts on foot. So 2 people start on bike. This biker drops a rider here and he returns. So after the biker is dropped, the biker continues this journey on foot. So the remaining journey, the biker who was dropped here will cover the remaining part on his foot. What will the person who is driving the bike will do? The biker will turn back. Why will he turn back? Because the person who was walking on foot must be coming towards him. So he turns back, picks up the rider, and then takes him towards Mathura. So all three will reach together. The person who was dropped midway, I'm not saying exactly midway, dropped somewhere in between, is now walking, whereas the other person who was walking is now sitting on bike. So this way all three can manage to reach Mathura at the same time. So we have to solve this question based on this approach. I repeat myself. One person starts walking. He walks from here to here. Two persons starts on bike. So bike goes from here to here. The biker drops the rider. The rider then starts walking on foot, whereas the biker turns back to pick his other friend who is walking now. So he meets him somewhere, gives him lift, and then they both return back towards Mathura. Fine. This way they all three will manage to reach Mathura together. Now we have to solve in what shortest amount of time can this be done. So let's solve this. Now let's see how you can solve this. It is given that Delhi and Mathura, the distance between Delhi and Mathura is 300 kilometers. What else is given? See, it is given that if you walk at 15 kilometers per hour. If you travel on bike, you travel at 60 kilometers per hour. Now compare 15 and 60. So 60 is 4 times. 4 times. So if you travel by bike, your speed becomes 4 times the speed at which you can walk. Please remember this fact. So if you remember this fact, this can be solved in easiest possible way. Otherwise, it will become complicated. Now understand what is happening. 3 people are there. 1 person is walking. 2 persons start on bike. Now concentrate only on the 2 person who have started on bike. So these 2 person go from here to here. Fine. This is bike ride. Bike ride. Now 1 person is dropped here. 1 person is dropped here and he continues to walk. He continues walking. Now let me assume that the remaining distance be D. Fine. The remaining, or you can say the distance that this guy had to walk is D. So this distance is D. So it means the first bike ride was taken for 300 minus D kilometers. Fine. Now coming to the speeds. Speeds are 2 types of speeds are involved here. 15 kilometers per hour and 60 kilometers per hour. 15 when you are walking, 60 when you are driving the bike. Now when the biker drops this person, so see, ultimately all 3 would be reaching Mathura together. So if you ask both these persons, if you ask the person who was riding the bike and if you ask the person who has just got down from bike, from now on they are going to take same amount of time to reach Mathura. 1 person is always driving the bike. 1 person has never come down from his bike. So the person who is driving the bike has a speed of 60. The person who is now forced to walk has a speed of 15 kilometers. From now onwards, they are going to take same amount of time. So if they are going to take same amount of time to reach from this point to Mathura, that means this person who was walking, if he has traveled a distance of D, the person who is always driving the bike will travel 4 times the distance, 4D. Why? Here the biker turns back, picks his another partner and comes to the same point and then continues his journey. So you can see the driver has to cover extra distance. This is the extra distance that the biker is covering in comparison to his first friend. So there is a biker, there is first friend, there is second friend. So first friend has been dropped here. Now first friend is walking towards Mathura. The biker has turned back to pick his second friend. So this is the extra distance the biker has to cover as compared to his first friend. So total distance that the biker will cover is 4d. Total distance that the first friend will cover on his foot is d. So if this is d, this is also d. It means this remaining distance is 3d. So 3d means one way distance is 1.5d. 1.5d is one way distance, because you know that the person who is driving the bike will have to cover 4d, whereas the person who has walked has covered only d. So from here to here it is d. That means from here to here is also d. So from where will the remaining 3d come? So remaining 3d is the distance covered in an attempt to go back and come back to the same spot. So 3d. So one way journey 1.5d. So I hope you have understood till here. So now this entire situation can be summed up in this diagram. The biker and the first friend, the biker drops the first friend here. The first friend will have to travel the distance d. The biker turns back, picks his second friend and comes back here and then continues his remaining journey. So if you ask the first friend, so consider the journey of first friend. So there is a biker and then there are two friends, first friend and second friend. So look at the journey of first friend. So some distance covered by bike and some distance he has covered on foot. So distance d by walking, so remaining 300 minus d on bike. This is what has happened with first friend. What has happened with second friend? So second friend has also walked some distance and then he got picked on bike and the remaining distance he has covered on bike. So how much distance the second person has covered on bike? So 1.5d plus d. So the distance covered on bike by the second person is 2.5d. That means the distance he was walking was only 300 minus 2.5d, because the total distance is 300 kilometers. Now based on these two facts you will be able to solve this question. Why? Because both these friends have taken the same time to reach from Delhi to Mathura. They started together and they reached together. So now you can form an equation based on this fact. Let's see. So when you are traveling on a bike, your speed is 60 kilometers per hour, whereas when you are walking, your speed is 15 kilometers per hour. Now if you ask first friend, how much time did you take to reach from Delhi to Mathura, what will his answer be? 300 minus d, he was traveling on bike. First friend's time taken. 300 minus d, he was traveling on bike, speed of bike is 60. Whereas distance d he has covered by walking. So this is the time he took. Time taken by second friend. So 300 minus 2.5d, he was walking. Whereas 2.5d, he was traveling on bike. Both these times are same amount of time. They have taken same amount of time. So you can equate them. 300 minus d divided by 60 plus d by 15 must be equal to 300 minus 2.5d divided by 15 plus 2.5d divided by 60. If you solve this, you will get the value of d. So let's solve this. So take 60 common both sides, 60 as the LCM of both sides. So 300 minus d plus 4d here. So 1200 minus 10d plus 2.5d. So this 60 and this 60 can be cancelled. So from here you can say that 300 minus 3d is equal to 1200 minus 7.5d. So from here what do we get? So if you take 300 to that side, 7.5 to this side, sorry, this will be plus 3d because 4d minus d is 3d. So from here you can see that 900 is equal to 10.5d. So if you solve d, you get the value of d as 900 by 10.5, and that so let's see, let's take this further. So d is equal to 900 by 10.5. So d comes out to be 900 by 10.5 if you want to simplify this. So 9000 by 105, both 90 and 105 are multiples of 15. So 15 sevens are, and the 600 by 7. So this comes out to be 600 by 7. So now you can easily solve this, that how much time did they took. So you can substitute the value of d, on any of these, you will get. Let's see. So you can solve it using first friend's timing. So 300 minus d, he was traveling on bike, whereas the d distance he has covered by walking. So we know that d is equal to 600 by 7. So let's solve this. So time taken, 300 minus 600 by 7 divided by speed of bike is 60 plus, because we are talking about total time taken, he has walked distance d. Distance d is 600 by 7. When he was walking, his speed was 15. So let's solve this. So 300 by 60, 5 minus 600 by 7 divided by 60. So 10 by 7 plus 600 by 15. Sorry, 600 by 7 divided by 15. So that would be 40 by 7. So this comes out to be 5 plus 30 by 7. So that is equal to 5 plus 30 by 7 can be written as 4 plus 2 by 7. So final answer is 9 plus 2 by 7 hours. That means 9 2 by 7 hours. Fine. So since this was the first time we were having a look at this question, so it may appear lengthy to you, but these kind of questions has been asked many a times. All the questions that we are dealing with are straight from real question paper. So final answer would be 9 2 by 7 hours. So that was all about relative speed, and we have already seen some good quality questions. So the remaining questions you can refer from the course material that will be provided. So anyways,